Let's make sure we live in here. Bam, we are live. Don't mind the noise in the background. They decided to cut the grass today. But welcome back to another edition of Gen Sports Corner for 10. November 14th, 2021. We're going to be talking about the Eagles, Raiders, Week 10 action. I'm going to give my predictions, my breakdown of the games. Let me know what you guys think. News and notes before we get into that. The assistant, I believe the assistant head coach for the 76ers is taking time off because he got diagnosed with cancer and he has to undergo treatment for that. So prayers going out to him and his family that he has a full recovery. That's a heavy burden to carry. Prayers out to Joel Embiid with his battle with the bug right now. Tobias Harris and the rest of the guys, they're back at full strength for what we know. They lost last night, but they're back in the lineup. But Embiid, from what we know, is still having a tough time with CVID. So, prayers going out to him that he makes a full recovery. He's feeling better from that. With that being said, let's go into the Week 10 action for the Eagles and the Raiders. I've had a little bit more time lately to go into the stats and the matchups, the film breakdown, so I can give you guys a more complete analysis of what the game's going to be like, how I think it's going to play out, and what my score predictions are going to be. So let's jump right into it. Eagles playing today at 4:25 out in Mile High Stadium against Denver. Denver favored by 2.5 points, I believe. So let's go into some of the stats. Denver's coming off the big win last week against our arch nemesis, the Dallas Cowgirls. They had a big win, 30-16 over them in Jerry World, and the score wasn't even that close, to be honest with you. I mean, they were up 30-3 at one point, or 30-0 at one point, something stupid. And there were a lot of reasons for that, and I'm going to go into them. First and foremost, let's look at this Denver defense. This Denver defense on the season against the pass, only giving up an 81.5 passer rating to quarterbacks, which is third in the NFL. Only giving up 223.4 yards per game, which is eighth in the league. Kyle Fuller being the big offseason acquisition for the Broncos. And they have two really good safeties. I can't think of their names off the top of my head, but they have a bunch of ball hawks in that secondary, and there's a reason why they're as good as they are. And that pass rush, with or without Von Miller, who was traded last week, they're still ferocious. They got after Dak Prescott. They had Dak Prescott only had 5.9 yards per attempt and a 73.9 passer rating. This one thing they do, and we're going to jump into this. They don't defend the run very well. They are stingy at times, but they gave up 5.1 yards per carry to Zeke. But what they do very well is they disguise coverages. And Nick Fangio, who is the head coach and the play caller for that defense over in Denver, he's been doing this for years. He's a master of his craft, and he has a lot of different things that he does to try to fool not just inexperienced quarterbacks, but veteran quarterbacks, like what I would consider Dak Prescott at this point. Dak Prescott is one of the top quarterbacks in the league right now. But Nick Fangio was able to do a lot of different things to disguise the coverages that he was bringing at Dak Prescott. What he likes to do a lot is he'll show you one thing pre-snap and show you something completely different post-snap. So there's one play that I was looking at on the film study that I can recall. The Cowboys had what would you call that? They had a trip set, three wide receivers to the right side, one tight end lined up on the line of scrimmage, right? So you have three wide receivers, one tight end, one running back. Three wide receivers on one side. And that's typically pretty good for beating zone. So the Denver Broncos this year under Fangio, they run a lot of two high safety. So two safeties up high, one covering one side of the field and one covering the other side of the field. And they come out in that cover two shell a lot. So that's what Dak Prescott thought he was getting pre-snap. Did his pre-snap checks. Okay, he thinks I'm getting too high safety. Cool. When the ball is snapped, all of a sudden, the free safety who is creeping down just ever so slightly. He creeps down into what looks like a robber position. So pretty much post snap, pre snap, it looks like it could be a cover two man or cover two zone. And then post snap, the free safety drops down about 5 to 10 yards into what would be a robber position where he's in a hook zone just sitting in the middle of the field. So all of a sudden, it looks like Dak Prescott is getting man coverage with one high safety in the middle of the field. So he's like, cool. So he has one crossing route coming across the field with the inside receiver, and then CeeDee Lamb is on the outside running up, and then he's running up about 15 yards, and then he's going to break in left towards the middle of the field like a deep crossing route, a deep end route. So that's what Dak Prescott is thinking he's seeing against man coverage. He's thinking that, okay, my crossing route with the inside receiver is coming across the field, and he's going to take both the cornerback that's covering him and this robber safety with him. But what the Broncos do, which is genius, instead of the cornerback, I guess if you watch my fingers, instead of the quarterback trailing with the receiver across the field, the cornerback then passes off the receiver to this safety over here, and that free safety that was the robber takes him, and now that cornerback is now becomes the robber and sits in the middle of the field. And guess what? Guess what happens when CeeDee Lamb gets 15 yards and then he breaks in? That cornerback is sitting there in the middle of the field, and Dak Prescott either doesn't see him or doesn't even anticipate him sitting in the middle of the field, and he throws an easy interception to that cornerback. The ball doesn't get to CeeDee Lamb. It gets to the cornerback that passed the inside receiver off. And those are the little details when you wonder, like, how is this Denver defense so good? It's that, like, on a play in and play out basis, they do those little things where they don't show you what they're doing. And that's what separates them. They're only giving up 17.6 or 17.8 points a game. That's second lowest in the NFL. And they're doing that for a reason. And that's a concern of me with a younger quarterback like Jalen Hurts. He's going to have a tough time if the Eagles get pass happy, really trying to decipher what's going on pre-snap versus what he's going to get after the ball is snapped. Because Nick Fangio, he's one of them guys, and they have the personnel back there to pull it off. So that's one of the things I'm looking at with this Denver defense. They're going to be really tough. However, like I mentioned before, they can be run on. Zeke was able to run on them, and that brings us into what the Eagles have been doing well these past 2 to 3 weeks. And it seems like the Eagles have found their identity. Jalen Hurts, last week against the Chargers, 115.3 passer rating against the Chargers, 10 carries for 62 yards, doing great off that zone read, that read option. Devonta Smith, 6 targets, 5 catches for 116 yards and a touchdown. He was getting the lion's share of the targets, and he was in Jalen Hurts' scope all game. Against a banged up Chargers secondary. I mentioned that last week. They had 2 of their starters out, so that was a big reason why I thought the Eagles would attack that secondary, and they did. They did. And Jordan Howard on the ground, they established that run game. Along with Jalen Hurts running the ball, some of those passes, at least one of those passes that went to Devonta Smith was a result of the run game being established. Jordan Howard, 17 carries, 71 yards, 4.2 yards per carry, and a touchdown. Boston Scott, 10 carries, 40 yards, 4 yards per carry, along with the 62 yards from Jalen Hurts. And going into the film study, something else I want to point out, something the Eagles have been doing and having success with, they've been implementing the zone run out of these 12 and 13 personnel formations. Now, 12 personnel means 1 running back, and the 2 in the 12 means 2 tight ends. So 13 personnel would be 1 running back, 3 tight ends. So there are a couple plays from last week's game where they came out in 12 or 13 personnel, and they ran a zone read where you have all the linemen blocking downhill in one direction, let's say left, for example, and then let's say Dallas Goedert, who's on the left side, he's coming across blocking to the right at the same time. So you're splitting the defense. It's a split zone read run. You're essentially splitting the defense in half, and then you're having Jordan Howard taking the handoff and crashing downhill through the middle. And they ran that a couple of times, and then they set up other plays off of that concept. Very basic concept, but very effective when you can start to set up different looks off of the same thing. So one play they ran where they had the line crashing to the left, Goddard coming to the right, and then Jordan Howard taking that zone read from Jalen Hurts right up the middle, going to the left and then planting his foot, boom, going up the middle, getting downhill. Another play later in the game, they run the same concept, and the Chargers are like, we just saw this. We're going to crash down right into that gap. And guess what happens when a defender crashes down? Jalen Hurts keeps the ball and then scampers out to the sideline for a quick 5 yards on a crucial third down play to convert for a first down. Fast forward again in that game. This is the play where Dallas Goedert got his shirt ripped, right? So they ran the same concept, right? So they ran a zone read off of play action, off of the read option. Jalen Hurts keeps the ball, tucks it, and immediately throws it out to Goddard in the flat. Because now the defender is looking out for Jalen Hurts to take the ball and run it. Now he chucks it out to the flat to Dallas Goedert, and Dallas Goedert turns that quick 3-yard pass into a 22-yard gain. So 3 separate occasions, the same look. You're doing different things off the same look. And I love that the coaching staff is starting to find different patterns that work, and if something works and it's not broke, don't fix it. You keep running the same thing, the same concept, different variations or derivations of the same concept, and you get the defense off balance. And that's what the Eagles are going to have to do against this Denver D for sure. Because the Denver offense, they like to do the same thing with that zone, that split zone read. They do the same thing with Javonta Freeman and Melvin Gordon. So the Eagles are going to have to watch out for the exact same thing as what we've been doing to teams for the past 3 weeks. So that's going to be a big matchup there. However, the Eagles' run defense has been stingy this year, especially in the past couple of weeks. 4 yards per carry, 6th in the league. We're giving up 120 yards per game, which is 20th in the league. But in the past 3 weeks, we've been pretty stingy against the run. And we were very stingy against Eckler, which was surprising because Eckler, I mean, the week before against the Browns, he went off. I mean, they went to overtime. He had 3 touchdowns and almost like $150, and we were able to shut them down. So that was really big. And this Denver O-line, they have 3 of their top 4 tackles out. It didn't matter against Dallas for whatever reason. However, they did give up 4 sacks and 6 hits. Even in that win against Dallas last week, they gave up pressure. So if the Eagles are able to take advantage of some of the injuries on that line and get pressure on Teddy Bridgewater, it's going to be essential because they have 2 big guys on the outside. Tim Patrick, Courtland Sutton, both around 6'3", 6'4", depending on how they feel that day, right? And my concern is not with Darius Slay against Sutton. It's with Steven Nelson against Tim Patrick. We saw Tim Patrick burn the crap out of Trayvon Diggs last week. And my concern is Steven Nelson on the island 101. If you don't get to Teddy Bridgewater, that Denver offense has had the 3rd most deep pass attempts in the league. So they will air it out. If you give Teddy Bridgewater a chance to drop back and get a chance to just look downfield for a couple seconds, he'll air it out. So that being said, those are the stats. Those are the matchups. And to be honest, I'm picking Denver to win by 3 to 4 points just because I think that Denver defense is more serious than people realize, and this Denver team is very underrated. This is coming from a Raiders fan as well. I know them. I see them all the time. Trust me. I have to see them twice a year. I know what they're about. And that pass rush is serious. That secondary, they're ball hawks. And on offense, they do enough on the ground game to be able to set up these deep shots with those big wide receivers on the outside. So I think that they'll get a couple more opportunities. I see Noah Fant, their tight end, being a mismatch against TJ Edwards. I think that's where the difference is going to be for me. So I think Noah Fant probably gets a touchdown in the red zone. I think they get 1 or 2 touchdowns with their running backs and then a field goal. So I see them scoring around 24 points. And I see the Eagles scoring around 21, but just not enough to beat the Broncos because that defense, they're going to keep that score down just enough. So I'm going Broncos 24-21. That's my score. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, but that's my breakdown on it. And then secondly, let's go ahead and hop right into this Raiders game, Sunday Night Football versus the Chiefs. Big game. Big game in Vegas. Raiders 5-3, Chiefs 5-4. Chiefs have been up and down this season. Mahomes has been having an up and down year. Derek Carr coming off a really piss poor game last week against the Giants, unfortunately. But was he inaccurate? Yes, but we all know that Derek Carr can put the football into the breadbasket. He's an accurate quarterback. Everybody has an off game here and there. Let's go ahead and look at the matchups. Mahomes, the connection to Travis Kelce is back. You might want to listen to this if you play fantasy football or you're in DraftKings, because I'm giving you the matchups right here. The Mahomes to Kelce connection is back. The past couple weeks, they've been hooking up. Pause. Getting touchdowns, whatnot. Not so much with Tyreek Hill. He's been a little hot and cold with Tyreek Hill. And Casey Hayward for the Raiders, one of our best corners this year. You know they're going to be matching him up with Tyreek Hill. And I think that this trend might continue this week. And the Raiders' pass D has been pretty good this year. Middle of the pack, a 90.8 passer rating on average allowed by our defense, but we only give up 6.3 yards per passing attempt, which is second in the NFL. Who would have thought 1 year later we're that much better on defense, and we're getting pressure on quarterbacks? You saw that. You've seen that all season, especially Yannick Ngakoue, the big acquisition from the Jaguars. He's had 6 sacks on a year, 12 hits. Max Crosby on the other side, 5 sacks on a year. They bring pressure off that end. They just get after guys. They show no mercy. I love what I see out of this pass rush this year. Complete night and day. And Mahomes in this Chiefs offense, the big issue this year is they have been all or nothing. They go for the deep play or they get nothing. They are no longer taking those underneath checkdowns nearly as often as they should, and that's been one of the big reasons for their struggles this year. And they haven't done a great job at protecting Mahomes. And this Raiders pass defense, I'm telling you, they're going to get after him. They got after him last year, and they're even better this year. However, this run defense for the Raiders, pretty weak, pretty mediocre, giving up 4.6 yards per carry, which is 26th in the league. 133.5 yards per game, which is 28th, damn near at the bottom. However, the Chiefs, for whatever reason, don't like running the ball. Even in the big win last week they had over the Packers, Aaron Jones ran the ball up and down the field on them. So they still aren't that good against the run, nor do they excuse me, I was talking about the Raiders run defense. Even in the big win over the Packers, they still didn't run the ball that much. And then flip to the Raiders defense, they don't stop the run either, even in the win. They didn't run the ball well, and they didn't stop the ball the run well against a Aaron Rodgers-less Packers team, right? On top of that, their pass defense is bad. Yeah, they did good against the Packers, but Devonta Adams was out, if I can recall, and Rodgers was out. So who'd they really have? That pass, or maybe who doesn't matter. Aaron Rodgers was out, and they still struggled. They did good against Aaron Rodgers being out. However, overall for the season, their pass defense is horrendous. They give up a 99.5 passer rating on average, which is 23rd in the league, and they give up 8.1 yards per pass attempt, which is 28th in the league. Right, 8.1 on their defense being allowed to the passing game versus our defense only allowing 6.3 yards per pass attempt. They're not good in that secondary. So I'm looking for Deshaun Jackson to be able to stretch the field and Derek Carr to be able to have his way. Darren Waller, who's going to cover Darren Waller? Sorensen? It's not going to work. We know that. It didn't work last year. It's not going to work this year. They don't have any answers for that. And their run defense doesn't have any answers for Josh Jacobs in that Raiders run game, which is why, even though the Chiefs are favored by, I think, 2.5 points, I have the Raiders winning this game by a field goal. I think the Raiders are going to pull this game out by field goal, if not maybe a little bit more, because I don't see how the Chiefs stop the Raiders, but I do see how the Raiders can cause enough disruption in this Chiefs offense to be able to limit them to 21 to 24 points. I say probably they could limit them to 24 points while putting up 28 to 31 points. So that's why I'm going to go with the Raiders to win this game tonight on Sunday Night Football, excuse me. So that's my picks. Eagles, I have the Eagles coming up short 24-21 in Maha Stadium, which is not going to help my Raiders because they're in the same division. However, I have the Raiders winning this game, upsetting the Chiefs at home in Vegas 28-24. So those are my picks for today. Let me know what you guys think about that. Very quickly, David Benavidez, nice win last night. Had a TKO stoppage. I have to go watch the replay, but he's back on track. Good to see. So maybe him and Canelo might be the next matchup down the line. Who knows? He lost the Benavidez lost the belts on the scale. Maybe he'll get a chance to fight a Canelo. We'll see. That being said, that's it for this episode. Appreciate y'all tuning in. New song dropped, Suicide, for the upcoming album Dark Side of the Sun. You can check that on Spotify. Just go ahead, look up Jen and the song Suicide. You will see that on Spotify. Go ahead, check it out. Or you can go to my page here on Facebook, and you can see it in my recent posts. Just click the hyperlink. It will take you right to my Spotify page, and it has a link for Apple Music as well. Go ahead, download it, check it out. New album, Dark Side of the Sun, coming December 3rd. Be there, be square. Thank y'all for tuning in. Be safe, enjoy your Sundays, eat well, and hopefully the Eagles and the Raiders both pull out the dub today. Catch y'all later. Peace.